Welcome to the newer radio with your hosts, June Fargo, Just Cause, and Young Breeze.
Yo, how you feeling, bro?
What's good?
Kasidon!
What's the vibe?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right, bet.
What's the vibe?
What's good?
Oh, this nigga Breeze died?
I ain't dying, nigga.
What happened, bro?
I don't know. It wasn't me, buddy.
Good. What's you, man?
What's good with y'all? How you been?
Shit, chilling, man.
Chilling, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
You
I
start
see what you
work?
guys be doing on here, man. I'm glad you had me on.
Yeah, bro, for sure. No, we love to have you on, bro. You know, I try to explain to people this is bigger than music. This podcast to me is like, you know, back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, you know, when there wasn't TV and all people had was radio. So they just like the families huddled around the radio at night and they listen to stories. Like, this is deeper than music.
Yeah, 100%.
Platform, to get people's stories out there, whether you're an artist, whether you're like recovering from something, whether you're a dad, whether you're an entrepreneur, black-owned business, whatever. Like, I want to get your story out there. And a lot of people think that, like, oh, we just doing music reviews. There is no music reviews. I mean, if you make music, and we're going to talk about it. This is really just getting your story out here. So then, like, if you do make music, you have an interview that people can go and watch that shows you as a person, because everyone's always having music shoved in their face and people be sick of that shit. So now's your opportunity to let the people know who you are as a person and why you should like them as a person, and that should help them gravitate towards your music.
Yeah, because I think it's important for the audience to build a connection with the artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's for sure. But yo, let the people know who you are, where you're from, and what you do, man.
Shit. Oh man. I go by Kasidon. I'm from Vermont. I think I moved around a lot. I lived in Chicago for a little while. Lived in Connecticut for a while. Lived in Oregon for a while after I graduated high school. I mean, for me, mostly, I think that music is an avenue for me to, you know, express myself in ways that I think like most artists can relate to, that, you know, the conventional ways that people deal with emotions or whatever, you know, like a lot of those things just don't work or aren't effective, you know. So music is a way to kind of empty that emotional tank, so to speak.
Right.
So I started writing music when I was 15. So 2009, probably 2009. I mean, I took a break from it for a little while when Annabelle was born. You know, took a few years off just because I had to handle that.
Real dad.
And when I started writing music again, that's when I got introduced through Felix to Breeze and to you, June. And from there, I think he was trying to, and I love Felix, but he was like trying to push the second to none thing with me, and I was like, listen, my man, if we're gonna do this, it's gonna be street religion or bust. So if we're gonna do it, I'm gonna go all the way in. And so, yeah, I mean, me and Breeze did our first record. I think it was Better Way in 2019, and it's kind of been a wrap from there, really.
That's a fact. So you dropped the Genesis tape in 2019, which was fire. That's the first project I heard. That was fire. 2020, you dropped From Underneath. That was gas. And then 2021, was it that you dropped the Guess Who project with D French? Yeah,
2022 maybe. We had been working on it for like 2 years though, so it's hard for me. I think it was 2022.
Talk me through that project. How you like veered from like a melodic rapper into like a punk rap pop scene. Tell me what led you that direction. Your influences for
Um, I think it was a kind of a long time coming because I think a lot of my roots come from the alternative uh, style of music. I think that growing up, I mean, probably for all of us, like a lot of the '90s hip hop, it was like '90s hip hop for me, and then like early 2000s, like grunge alternative music was like super big, in like the skateboard culture and like counter culture, especially up in the area of Vermont where I was from. So like it just was kind of like a natural progression, I guess, in a way. Uh, and rap was I mean, I really enjoy that, and I got an affinity for it. And I think that project for me was like a testing the waters a little bit to see, because there's a lot of things I wanted to get off my chest too, that I felt like very like vulnerable subjects. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And part of me wanted to explore a way where people could see that somebody like me could kind of tap into that musical arena and like
Right.
be vulnerable and show that like it's okay to have emotions and to feel things that are like painful, because I think that in rap a lot of times it's easy to like gloss over those things.
Yes.
So
Sure, yeah.
that for me was like an opportunity to grapple with some things that I was dealing with, and kind of like step out of the box a little bit. And it was definitely the hardest music for me to write. It took the longest because I wanted to be correct in the things that I was saying and the way that I was saying it and the sound. So, I mean, it was like probably a year and a half of writing and 6 to 8 months probably in the studio recording. So it took a lot of time. And I had to be patient with it, but I'm happy and proud of the product.
I remember you, daily just sending me like snippets like, yo, this is what I'm working on. And, throughout my brother, he don't listen to rap. He listens to Sleeping with Sirens and,
That's my shit
that.
too.
Yeah, bro. He loves Kellen Quinn. Put me on the Kellen Quinn.
He was like early.
Bro. Yeah. And when you send it to me,
Okay.
I was like, yeah,
Fire.
this right here. And like you just tapped into a whole different market. And I really liked it, man. Are we gonna see a follow-up? I have a lot more that I want to dive into, but off of the Guess Who, I want to know, the people want to know, is there gonna be a follow-up? If you can't speak on it, it's all right. If you just
No,
shrug your shoulder, you know what I'm saying?
I think so. It was really tough after that project because in the middle of it was COVID, right? And then
Right.
once we finished it and we wanted to start like performing it, and me and D French both got super busy, you know what I mean? And so
Right.
it was difficult. If I could go back, I would try to roll it out a little bit differently. I probably would have like dropped a song every 2 weeks or something, you know what I mean? Because I think that the way of dropping the album, I think the attention span of the listener is very different now than it used to be. Us older folks, like, we're so used to dropping an album. It's a CD, it's a record. You drop a whole thing, it has a cohesiveness to it. Whereas nowadays, I realize that like the single method is better for garnering attention, right? So if I could go back, I might change that up a little bit because I don't think that it got as many ears as I wish, just because of the way that I did it and the way we dropped it. It was, so, but neither here nor there. We are working slowly on a follow-up that will come out. But yeah, it's tough. Me and D French got busy and trying to balance everything. I know you guys as parents too. It's tough that balance is hard to find sometimes. And Annabelle getting older, she's going to be in third grade. So as a single parent, she's demanding a little bit more of my attention now than she used to. It was easier to do stuff at night, like she's 2 or 3 years old, put her to bed. I got all this time at the end of the day to kind of take care of
Yeah.
what I want to take care of musically. But now, she's coming home from school. She got homework and shit, and so she's demanding a little bit more of my attention. So I got to balance that scale a little bit and figure out how I can uh, put the time that I want to into music and make a quality product, while at the same time, honoring my responsibilities as a father too.
Right.
Um, but there will be a follow up at some point. Yeah.
All right.
I feel like the best thing for that project, because you did drop it during the pandemic. I feel like not even like on TikTok, bro, because I don't even want to get into TikTok. TikTok is not heading in a good way. And if TikTok does end up staying, it's not going to be in a good way. But the best thing I think you should do is I think you should click up with D French, whether he come to you, you go to him or whatever, and just breathe new life into the project. Like do the waterfall method, man. Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
re-drop the singles and like build up, like, because the songs are already out. You already have them mixed and mastered. Drop one every other week and just make little short form content. You guys just like doing little hanging mics or like B-roll videos, little 30 seconds, and just hype it up and just breathe a little bit of life into it. And I feel like that project will go, because that scene is big, man. And
Yeah.
especially now. And it's kind of corny to say, but I feel like I don't know if you listen to it, but MGK and Trippie Redd dropped a project that's in that same genre,
Yeah.
and that shit went, bro. That shit was
It went.
hard. That
Yeah.
shit
It's
was
funny.
hard, bro.
I went to D French's house like a month ago, and the first thing that he was listening to when I walked through the door was a song off that project, and I hadn't even given it any play time yet. But I
Yeah.
walked in and I was like, "Damn, this is kind of fire."
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, my
Yeah.
kids love that shit, bro, and they've never been exposed to that genre. But as an artist, I try to expose them to as much different kinds of music as possible, because I want them to know, like, yo, like all I had was hip hop and R&B growing up, and I had to find these things. So, like, as you're younger, I want you to be able to grow with these different things, so you can like learn to like different things, and like you'll definitely stand out. And it helps, like, listening to different genres has changed my perspective on a lot of things in life, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was one of the things when we started writing that project, is because obviously the rap projects that I had before and all the singles and everything that I was working on, we had the Blood Brothers project, all that stuff. So I
Yeah,
wanted to be able to kind of show that somebody that could do A can also do B. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and to try to and D French, I think, brought more of the hip hop type of vibe to that Guess Who project, just because of the way he writes and his cadence, which
yeah,
is something that I really appreciated, because that was one of the things that I wanted to try to integrate to it, to try to make it more palatable for somebody who may not be have been exposed to that type of music before. So,
Right.
he did a good job of incorporating like that staccato flow, very hip hop essence in his writing. So, yeah, like you said, it's nice to be able to, people that I know that had never listened to that type of music before, all of a sudden you're like, they know you from rapping, and now you're like introducing them to something that's a little bit different, you know?
right. Breeze, I feel like you got a question, brother.
I do. It's more of like a question and a praise. First off, you can hear me perfectly, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
All right. So first off, the first thing I want to do that's going to lead up to my question is congratulate you for speaking on time and things of that nature. You recently graduated from Full Sail University.
Yo, hold
yeah,
on. Give this man a round of
Yeah.
applause, man.
So, you realize, like, first off, the reason why I want to congratulate you
No,
is
facts.
not a lot of people who have to deal with
Salute
everything
on that.
father, being,
Facts.
a full-time doing and having your own business and things of that nature can even, accomplish having the time to go to college and actually, have another trade. So, I guess my biggest question out of all that is, even aside from the music aspect of Full Sail, time management wise or balance wise, or things that you learned in life or key takeaways, even if it is music, like those things that you remember, what are some of those things that you can remember that are key takeaways or things that you learned, if they were music related or not music related?
um, that's a good question. I think that I hadn't thought about it before, but I think that one of the things that going to school and it kind of it goes hand in hand with being a father too, but the discipline that comes along with it. You know what I mean? Because in order to go to school and follow it through and graduate, you got to have discipline to go to classes and to do your homework and so along with that, it was okay. If I'm gonna do this, you also want to take into account like how much effort are you going to actually put into it? You know what I mean? So like I had to take a look at inside myself and be like, all right, well, if I'm going to do this, am I going to waste the however much money, which it was a lot, but you know, and just go to say that I did it, you know what I mean? Or am I going to actually try to go and get something out of it? So I think that was important. I think that it taught me a lot about the industry standards of how studios work and how they manage, whether it be files or manage their projects, the information flow from an artist to mastering to engineering to, you know, promotion and et cetera, all the way up the line. And I think what it did was it gave me like a more realistic expectation of, you know, the industry as a whole and how things work, you know, because you have people that are in the industry that are teaching your classes. So they are working in the industry. They're also teaching. They've been through the ringer. They understand what it's like. So they're educating you on that whole process. And I think one of the things that it did for me was when I was recording in the studio, it gave me a more accurate idea of what you're doing, right? When you're engineering and when you're mastering and you're mixing, there's so many things that before I would just be trying to describe it as the way something sounded.
Yeah.
But it gave me a more technical knowledge in terms of, you know, the mixing technology, the terminology, so that when you get into a studio atmosphere, you know more about like whether it be reverb or EQing or, you know, delays and all that stuff, you have just a more technical knowledge and terminology when you're speaking to somebody who's recording you, to get the sound that you're looking for without just trying to describe it in analogous terms. You know what I mean?
Right. And which I'd assume probably gives you a little bit more creative control if you're working with an engineer or somebody that, okay.
How many years of schooling was it?
What's up?
How many years of schooling was it?
It was a 2-year program, but because I kind of slowed it down, it took me 3 years to do.
Got you. Okay.
Not bad. So, question. So, like, how do you feel about like opening up since you were, you know, saying about like, you know, you were feeling that you can open up really? Saying like, how do you feel about artists opening up, like, you know, today versus, you know what I'm saying, like old school? Like, how do you feel like the genre has differentiated from then until now?
That's a good question. I think that there has always been kind of the outliers in music that have been able to speak on the difficult subjects. You know what I mean? And talk about their emotions in a way that was also appealing to the listener. Because I feel like in the day and age that we're in now, it's almost like cliche, right? Everybody's triggered by something. Everybody has an emotion or a response to something, and they're always trying to like accentuate that, and they're trying to, you know, put that onto other people and make it other people's responsibility to make them feel okay or whatever. But I think that one of the things that's important is to like, when you're opening up like that, to try to be relatable. So I did it, and I wanted my goal. And I don't know whether it was effective, but my goal was to like, not so much as to just like preach about what I was feeling, right, to the audience, but to give them something to relate to, right? Because I feel like a lot of the emotions that can be spoke about are universal, right? Whether somebody wants to acknowledge it or not, right? A lot of, you know, people like us, we like fucking bury things down. You know what I mean? And the difficult things, you know, they come up at odd times, and you know, you never really know what to expect because all we're used to is just like burying shit as deep
Right.
down as possible, because we got to put on, whether it be being a father, you know what I mean? You got other shit you got to
Put
deal
on
with.
that face. You gotta put on that face. You gotta wear that
Yeah.
that mask sometimes. You know what
And so,
time
like,
it is.
my goal for the project was to like give somebody a space where they can listen to it and be like, okay, it's okay to feel these things. It's okay to like be hurt by somebody. It's okay to have remorse over something that you did, or you know what I mean. Where
Right.
I think that's the most important thing. And I think that it has gotten a little more, I guess you could say, culturally acceptable in rap. You know what I mean? But because I feel like for a long time the people that were dominating rap music, it was, you know, fuck bitches, get money. You know, it was the cars, it was the clubs, it was all that stuff, which is great, you know. And there's a time and a place, and there's like an arena for that. But
Right.
I think that it's important not to forget the other side of it too, because I
Right.
think these things always balance out. And as much time as you spend at the club throwing money and doing whatever, there's also time that you're going to be in your bed, going to bed by your fucking self, and you know you're going to be feeling something, whether it's good or bad or whatever. And everybody battles with emotions. You know what I mean? Battles with, you know, thinking like, am I supposed to feel this way? Am I not? You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that was my goal, was to try to just give somebody, like, be like, oh, it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to feel something. You know what I mean?
Right. Walk us through as much as you feel comfortable. You know, why you're a single father, and just like your regular processes of being a single father, and so you don't dox yourself. I prefer if you didn't say your daughter's name, just because this is going on YouTube, and you know there's mad fucking weirdos out there.
Yeah.
Facts.
Just walk us through that whole process, if as much as you feel comfortable.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly wasn't an expected thing, you know, and I think that probably looking back on it, it was like exactly what I needed at that time in my life to become more responsible. You know what I mean? Because I certainly was not living in a righteous manner, so to speak. You know, and so becoming a father, you know, and it's cliche to say saved my life, but I mean, it's the reality of the situation where if that wasn't the case, I'd be dead or in jail, right? And so I'm thankful that I had the wherewithal when that situation arose to, you know, kind of take a step back and be like, okay, well, now I have this responsibility and I got to change the way that I'm behaving in order to be able to provide for another human being in the way that they deserve. And so, I mean, there was a lot of things that happened, you know, when she was young, battling for custody and doing that whole thing, court dates and all that. And we all know that.
Know that.
Yeah, can only imagine. Can only imagine.
So I think, like going to school, you know, it's developed a certain type of responsibility where, and all of us as parents, I think it's important to have. I think anybody in life, it's important to have something that's more important than yourself, because it makes you think about your decisions and it makes you think about the way that you navigate the world, you know. And when you're living in a very selfish manner and every decision that you make is only based on self gratification, I think that it's a lonely road that only leads in one direction. So what having a daughter has done for me is given me a purpose, you know, and it's a long-term purpose too, which is a good thing because it forces you to think about the decisions you're making 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road and how they're going to affect somebody. And so, you know, from our process, I think what that's done is given me that ability to think long-term. Whereas when I was younger, you know, it was just like waking up. What am I gonna get into today? You know what I mean? What kind of what type of shit am I gonna fuck up today? You know, where, you know,
right. Turn up type shit.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and a lot of it was substance abuse. You know what I mean? And I think it's very prevalent today. You know what I mean? Maybe more so than it was 10, 15 years ago, which is kind of crazy to say. But you know, that was the road that I was on. You know, it was all about the next high, and it was definitely like a struggle to get sober and it hasn't always been a smooth road, you know what I mean? And I think anybody who's kind of battled with sobriety can relate to that, where, you know, you hit bumps along the road and you constantly got to kind of course correct and find your true north, so to speak. And it took me a long time, you know, to find myself where I am now. But I think that's probably one of the main things that having a daughter did for me and in my process in life.
Yeah, man, definitely. Definitely a good answer. I mean, I know way too many people that don't take care of their kids, and then it's they don't get hated on, but then it's the ones that are there taking care of their kids day in and day out are the ones that are constantly not getting praised for it, especially the men, like the fathers, or they're just getting shit on for like the smallest thing. That's why, like, when Mother's Day comes around, I'll try to give you your flowers.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that.
I'll try to give you your flowers because bro, like you're like one of the only people I see out there that like is a single parent that has your kid 24/7. Like I've seen you push your career and your dream aside for that, bro. And as someone who's constantly chasing their dream, like little things where like I just can't record for 5 minutes kills me because I got to do something for my kids, but I have to go do it. So I can only imagine, you know, being a single parent and like the sitter canceling on you, like knowing like, damn, like this is a big show for me. Like I had to pay to get in this building, or like studio time that you locked in and you had to give that up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I want to commend you, man, because you're constantly going above and beyond, not as an artist, but as a father, bro. And
appreciate that.
If you're not a good father, why are you even being an artist, bro? You gotta
facts, bro. Facts.
You talk about getting the bag. These kids is the bag right here, bro.
Can't do that at home. You know what I mean?
So yeah, like, you know, it's like, you know, what you do behind closed doors always comes to the light, you know. So, and that's one of the things that I always try to remember is that, you know, even when I'm in my house, you know, with my child and the door's closed and nobody knows what's going on, you know, the way that I conduct myself, and I don't, you know, I think that being a single father, and the responsibility that I've taken on is only the right thing for any man in my position to do. You know, just because of the circumstances that surrounded her mother. But so I've never kind of looked for any praise in that regard. But I think that what that's done is allowed me to focus on that and then be completely like free in my music to be who I am. And I'm not trying to put in a persona, or I'm not trying to, you know, say things that aren't factually correct. You know what I mean? So, because as soon as you start to hide behind a life that is not true in the public eye, you're constantly trying to play catch. You know, you're always trying to play catch up. Always trying to make sure that the image that you had is still what you have, and so, you know, taking care of that for me allowed me to like be who I am in my music and not have to, you know, pretend to be something I'm not, you know.
Before I pass it over to Just Cause and Breeze, because we're already a half hour in and I don't want to take up too much time, I have one more question. And, you know, you kind of just, you know, you said persona. Now, through the years, you've always genuinely been yourself. I know your body, no Diddy. You know what I'm saying? I know your personality. I know who you are. I know who you are in real life. You talk in real life. You talk in real life. You know what I'm
Diddy is crazy.
But niggas, bro, niggas have tried to press you. We've seen it. Niggas have tried to press you, basically saying, "Oh, you're not who you are." And I feel like, as bad as it sounds, it's a race issue because you rap and you're white, and people think you're trying to put on a persona. How have you tried to, you know, cut the fog?
It's because I'm black.
You know what I'm saying?
I think one of the things that's been as time goes on, is to, and I think the difficult thing is as I've gone older and I've matured and I've progressed in my life, I've tried to have the music be a reflection of that, right? And so I think that a lot of people get caught up in like, you can still be rapping about, what I was doing when I was 15, but it's not what I'm doing right now. So as time has kind of evolved, I've tried to have my music be a reflection of the way that I've matured and the way that I speak about the life that I have lived and the things that I've been through. I try to think about the way that I speak on it because I think it's important for context, But I've always been an outlier as far as personality and persona and the places that I've been. But I've tried not to let other people's opinions of me put me in a box or dictate the way that I should behave because at the end of the day, nobody knows my life except for me, and nobody knows the places that I've been. So it's easy for somebody, to speak on something from the outside when they don't understand it. And I used to get really offended by it because I wanted to be accepted. I wanted people to see me for who I was and accept it, and I guess in some way praise me for it. But it came with a lot of judgment, and I think over time I've learned to just kind of let it roll off my back and forgive people for their ignorance, because I think that when people point the finger and judge other people, it's really just a reflection of the things that they're going on in their own life, and if they're not content with who they are, they want to pick out somebody else's faults and they want to amplify them and they want to make somebody look bad, and that's fine, if I'm the target of that. But I've learned to just kind of forgive somebody for doing that and to just still be me, you know what I mean? Because like I said, it's easy for somebody who doesn't know you or from the outside to judge you, and I think we've all experienced that. But like I said, I've tried to just let it roll off my back and just continue to be me, and I in some respects, let the music speak for itself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you all know there's no cap in my rap, right? So
not at all.
And I think a lot of people have like met me and they've listened to my music and then they expected me to be a certain different way, like it is a persona or like a stage presence or whatever. I'm like, listen, man, it's exactly the way you heard it. You know what I mean? So it just, I guess it comes with the territory in some regard too, being a performer and being a musician. I think we've probably all dealt with it. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just learning I think it's growing and maturing and realizing that, the hate is a lot easier from people. People would rather hate on you than to give you praise. And a lot of it comes from just their own discontentment in their own life. And, I just forget it now.
Right.
That's for sure, man.
For sure. So let's see. As far as I've known and as far as I've studied you, not just from being around you, but from afar.
I apologize, yo, if I missed anything. I apologize because I'm just going through a bad storm. My connection is horrible right now.
You good, bro? You good? So like I said, anyways, watching from the outside looking in and also being close and around you, right?
And I couldn't hear you.
So many trades, so many things that I know you know how to do, so many things with like businesses that you've been a part of, jobs that you've done, music, aside from music. Is there anything that you just like that like could not really be an end all be all, but you could do it and be like, okay, now I'm comfortable. Like now I could just start capturing things. Or do you just want to be a nomad to the
That's a good question. Because and I battle with this too, because sometimes I think about what my life would be like if I kind of gave everything to the music, right? Because you hear a lot of success stories about artists who it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to put 150% everything that I do into the music, right? And sometimes I think about what that would be like, but then I got to remind myself that as a father, I don't have that luxury, right? So I've tried to pave a way for myself in other arenas to be able to provide for my daughter. So, I mean, right now I'm just I'm a project manager for like structural steel jobs, which is cool. You know what I mean? And so it's just, and that has done a lot of things for me, just as far as like like we talk about responsibility, getting up, going to work. You know what I mean?
Right.
And taking care of business in that regard. It's also personal skills. I haven't been a great interpersonal relationship type of person. I don't think any of us really are in the arena that we're in. You know what I mean? Which is kind of weird because people see me. I'm pretty antisocial. And then you can get on a stage and you can kind of put on a show for people. And then when you get off the stage, it's kind of you and your group of people. I'm not really trying to go out and shake hands and socialize at the club and do all this shit that some people are really good at doing. But doing that job, I got to be on the phone. I got to talk to contractors. I got to be at job sites. I got to manage conflict. You know, I got to, take care of problems. So it's like a lot of problem solving and stuff. So I think all of it benefits in some way when I come back to the music, which is good. But yeah, like the question, I mean, I've tried not to put all my eggs in one basket, so to speak. But it has come at a cost, because I don't have as much time as I like in the studio. You know what I mean? I don't have, the 10 hours a day that I'm at work. I can't be writing music. I can't, be perfecting a craft that I really love and enjoy. But I've tried to learn to love being at work because what that does is it provides security for your children. So it's kind of a love-hate relationship. But I've tried to just learn to love it, you know what I mean, as much as I hate it.
So I guess this is more of a general question than anything, and this really like kind of ties some of the questions that we've previously asked up, but it's a little bit, you can kind of outsource a little bit more with your thoughts on this. How important, because I know it's important to a lot of people, but they don't speak, they just speak on, the little base topics of it. How important is balance to you? Now, balance with your careers, balance with, like, how important is balance to you? And not just like how you balance yourself around people, but how you balance yourself for yourself and your daughter too. You could tie that in there too. But how important is balance to you?
If Shorty was here, he would say balance. But I think it's probably the most important. And I think routine plays a big role in that. I'm a big routine person, getting up at the same time, but I think that it's tough because, right, if you look at your life and the effort that you put into things, there's like 100%, right? And like as soon as call music 100%, as soon as, like, I only have 100% to give. So if on any given day I'm giving 50% to work, then I got, so it's like as soon as you start to take from other areas, other things are gonna be compromised, right? So I think you got to develop an idea, and each person is going to be different. But I tried to develop, a balance that I think is right for me, like. That allows me to perform well in all arenas. And on any given day, things are going to change and things are going to come up that you don't ever expect. If I have a real tough day at work, then when I come home, it's not going to be the same as if I had like an easy day. I might be a little more short-tempered, and sometimes you have to just like check yourself at the door and be like, all right, well, I can't bring that shit home with me. You know what I mean? And I got to make sure that, when I come through the door, that I'm not sacrificing my attitude and relationship with Annabelle because of things that were out of her control. So I think that, it's important to have balance and an expectation for yourself and to hold yourself accountable too, and I'm a big planning person, and routines and balance. And I think, like I said, one of the big things that helps that is like holding yourself accountable, and, if you say you're going to do something, do it, even when it's difficult. And there's, you know, I'm kind of a nerd. I'll be listening to mad science podcasts and stuff, but there's the area in your brain that gets bigger like a muscle when you intentionally do things that you don't want to do, you know, even like small tasks. Like, I don't want to do the dishes tonight in the damn sink because I'm fucking tired and I've done a lot of shit today. But if you force yourself to get up and do the dishes, then the next time that something difficult arises that you don't want to do, it's going to be easier, right? So I've tried to, like, ever since I learned that, I've tried to like incorporate that into my life. Like, I don't want to fold the laundry right now, but I'm going to fucking do it, even though it's a pain in my ass, or do the dishes, or fucking make the bed, or clean Annabelle's room, or you know, anything really. You could go for music or work, but and then I think what that's done for me is like allowed me to be more effective in other areas, like, and be able to balance my emotions, you know, really, as far as, you know, getting things done and having a good attitude about doing different shit, you know?
Right. Yeah.
That's for sure, man.
Fact, man.
But I think it's easy, like you said, with balance, I think it's easy to get caught up in certain things because I'm very manic too, you know? And when I get caught up in something and I feel real good about something, I like dive right into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I find myself sacrificing
doing something else, right?
Yeah, you know, I find myself sacrificing other areas because all of a sudden I'm like super manic and I'm super high and I'm into this one thing. And, you know, it could be music, it could be anything. And then other things, scale starts to shake a little bit. And we all are going to go through that, you know, but like I said, it's about kind of checking yourself and making sure that you're just self-aware and seeing where you're at and making sure you just try to find yourself back at the baseline as quickly as possible to try to make sure that, because like we have kids, you know, and they're always going to be able to read us, you know, whether we see it or not, you know, they're kind of, you know, if I'm having a shitty day and I don't, you know, watch what I'm doing, Annabelle could have a shitty day. Oh, well,
it rubs off.
Have a shitty day real quick, you know, just off of, you know, the energy that I'm giving off. You know what I mean?
Right. Yo, I'm not gonna hold you too much longer, bro. You know, I know you just got out of work, you know, and I know you value family time, but you know, just one last thing before we let you go, bro. Plug yourself one last time, let people know, you know, where they can find your music, when you plan on dropping, if you have anything like planned in the works, you know, and a message to the future, bro, because this is going on YouTube. And until YouTube goes away, it's going to be solidified there. And we hope that, you know, the newer radio blossoms into something like big. So, you know, this is going to be episode 8. So when people see it, you know, they're going to find you. So just a message to the future, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I'll plug first, Kasidon SR and everything, Instagram. That's really the only thing I'll be on. Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, all the music's on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, all the good stuff. Guess Who MFG, that's the Guess Who project. Mystery Face Game came out. Go listen to it. It's dope.
Crazy fire.
Other than, man, I think that, man, it's hard for me to think about a message that I want to send to the people, but I think that something important that I've been battling with, and we touched on it earlier, is just do hard things, you know. And I think that the building of a great man and a great person is the willingness to adopt and to do the difficult things in your life. And I think that what that does is it builds character. And I think that that's the most important for anybody who feels like they don't have purpose right now. I think that find something that you care about that's difficult to do and take it on willingly. And I think that you'll find yourself fulfilled in some manner.
Right.
What up,
man? You know, Kaz, you believe in God, right?
Yes, sir.
Let me leave you with a quote, bro, that I heard that I feel like you're gonna fuck with. God will put you back together in front of those who broke you.
Amen.
That's a fact.
But yeah, man, this has been the Newer Radio. episode 8 with the homie Kasidon. And yeah, we'll catch y'all on the next one.
I just want to say I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure. I don't get to do this enough, so thank you for letting me kind of tell my story. And on the music tip, if any of y'all motherfuckers got music, let me know, because other than the Guess Who project, I'm in a place right now, I think, that I'm ready to start putting some music together.
Hey, I can't cope. I be in the daze sometimes. That's why I sit in the house gripping the case sometimes. If karma is at the door, she better wait in line. At night I pray to the Lord that this pain subsides. Cause this is demon time. I bleed for mine. Take me before they take my bros. This is demon time. I bleed for mine. Take me before they take my bro. Hey, I can't cope. I be in the daze sometimes. That's why I sit in the house gripping the case sometimes.
You gotta stand up and fight.